This was a great start to this wonderful adventure and timeless tale, mainly because they didn't throw too much at you. The characters, the story, the background, they were minimal, but they were understandable. Once upon a time, there lived a fox spirit with 9 tails, and he was so powerful that whenever he shook those tails, landslides and tsunamis would result. The suffering people gathered the great shinobi clans to fight this menace. Finally, risking his life, one ninja was able to imprison its soul. Having defeated the demon, the brave shinobi died. That shinobi was the Fourth Hokage, the Fire Shadow, champion of the village, hidden in the leaves. Number 1, Uzumaki Naruto.
Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed that intro. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you the first of many to come in the wonderful, adventure-filled, fun-packed, excitement, thrill-a-minute tale of Naruto. As we start this journey over here, I'm one that I always, of course, read the volumes, and this here is Volume 1. Some very nice, brightly depicted artwork on there, and honestly, the artwork is pretty nice as well inside. And I'm hoping, or pretty positive that that Kishimoto's art does progress as the series goes on, as well as does with most artists. So really, this is going to be a longer than normal review, mainly because the first chapter is about 3 times as long as a typical chapter. It's about 60 pages, and there is a lot of content. And I really enjoyed this, and for the reason of you weren't overwhelmed. You weren't overwhelmed with so many different characters that you had no idea what was going on. They gave the brief backstory on everything with the 9-tailed demon fox and all that, and then we get right into the action. And really, we get dropped right into the action. And Naruto is a young boy, and he's in the village of, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce this good, Konohagakure. Wait, Konohagakure. Konohagakure, I believe, is the village. It's way too many syllables, and they should just call it something for short. I don't know. Somebody will have to clue me in on if they do that. But we're introduced to Naruto, and again, he's a youth. He's a young adolescent, I guess you would probably say. Maybe maybe of about 12, 13, 14. I don't know. He seems very young. At least that's how he's depicted in the manga. And we see that he's actually drawn the attention of everybody in the village because he's hanging down on a rope on these, and they have these face statues, similar to like a Mount Rushmore, and of the different Hokages, and he is defacing them. He's painting on them. He's painting funny mustaches or whatever on them, and everybody's of course like, oh geez, I'm gonna tell on you, that sort of thing. So somebody does wind up telling on him and goes and gets his sensei, which is Iruka Sensei, and Iruka comes in and of course catches him in the act of what he's doing, and is really just befuddled and irritated by what he's doing. They wind up going back to class. He was supposed to be in class. Then we see that Naruto is kind of the outcast. He's kind of the I don't know how to explain, kind of the underdog, it seems like. It seems as if he's not very well received or well accepted by anybody in the class. It seems like he's kind of the class clown, or maybe the class screw-up at least, because then they go and they're doing this test where, they come in there where they can like make not like a clone of themselves, but where they can change their image to look like somebody else. And the test is to change your image to look like Iruka. And a couple students do it, and then Naruto comes up. Naruto goes and turns into butt naked, nice looking women, and all the right parts are covered. All the good parts, I guess you'd say, are covered with like mist and clouds over it, right? And he says something about that's like his sexy celebrity move or something, So definitely a little bit of a little humor to start things off as well. So winds up being after class, Iruka is sitting there overseeing and watching Naruto as he has to, of course, clean the defacement of the public property that he did. And he's like, what the hell? What's your deal? He's trying to have a conversation with him and ask him why. Why are you doing these things? You're going to be late and this and that. And we find Naruto doesn't have a family because he says, well, it isn't like there's anybody waiting home for me. And that kind of gets explained later on in the chapter as well. So it's really just sort of building all the plot points towards, what we're going to see and what's going to be revealed about him. And then he winds up offering to take him out afterwards for a bowl of ramen. And Naruto was like, wow, that's great, that's the best motivation ever. So later on they go and they have their bowl of ramen together and they're talking a bit. And Naruto he asks Iruka for his headband, and he wears this headband. The shinobis wear headbands, and he has the leaf on it, which I'm assuming is the symbol for the village. So he asks him for it, and he says, no, only graduates can wear those. You goofball, you can't have that, right? so anyway, the next day is graduation day, and they're gonna go and for the graduation, what they have to do is they have to be able to make a clone of themselves. And that's why I did get a little bit turned around just a minute ago, because this particular test for graduation is about your cloning techniques and being able to make a clone of yourself, right? So Naruto immediately is thinking in his head, he's like, oh my god, he's like, it's just my worst technique, So he comes up to do his, and the clone that he makes of himself is just sort of like this, like hunched over, like it just looks like a dead version of himself, just kind of down on its hands and knees, like, right? And and Iruka's like, yeah, okay, whatever, fail, you didn't pass, right? And it seems like Iruka has this like respect for him, kind of, but at the same time he's real hard on him, And I kind of know how that is, because I'm kind of that way with my oldest son. I expect more from him, so a lot of times I know I can be real hard on him and say, I want you to do it this way because I know that you have better in you, that type of thing. So I can definitely sort of feel for him in this one. So then we're also introduced to apparently it's one of the other senseis, one of the other teachers, and that's Mizuki, and Mizuki goes in, he says, he kind of sticks up for Naruto, and he says, listen, he did create a clone of himself, even though it was kind of a shitty one. Can we just pass him, And Iruka's like, no, we're not, and this and that. And that's where he kind of gets that tough love sort of thing, or at least that's what I feel. So anyway, later on, Naruto is, of course, all bummed because everybody else has graduated, and he kind of, oversees everybody in the village sort of talking about him behind his back, sort of whispers about him and how he didn't graduate again. He's failed 2 times before, so this is his 3rd try, and you'd think 3rd try is a charm, but apparently not, So anyway, so Mizuki, he goes and he sits down and talks with Naruto, and he basically goes and pulls a setup on him. He goes and tells him about this scroll that has techniques and this other thing, and you just you don't really know exactly what's told to him, but then the next thing you know, Naruto goes and he's sneaking into somewhere, and there's someone that's like, like, oh, hey, what are you doing in my house in the middle of the night? And then all of a sudden, you see, sexy celebrity, and Naruto just runs off, and he grabs some kind of scroll. Next thing you know, everybody's kind of having a meeting about things, and what happened is Mizuki, I think that's how it's pronounced, Mizuki. He goes he goes to Iruka, and he goes and tells on him, he says, oh, he's taking the forbidden scroll and this and that, So they get together like a hunting party to get together and look for him and everything else. The Hokage has said, hey, listen, this is bullshit. We gotta get him back, right? We gotta get that scroll back. And there's obviously a bigger picture going on here. So everybody's going to go out and search for him, and it winds up being Naruto is out in the woods, and Iruka finds him. He just finds him very quickly, knew where he was going to go, and says, what the hell are you doing? I knew you were going to be out here, right? And Naruto, this is where you find out that this is where the lipstick comes off the pig, right? This is where you find out that Mizuki just tried to pull an okie doke on him, and you find out very quickly that this guy's full of shit. I mean, you could tell 2 pages afterwards anyway, but Naruto's like, yeah, I've been practicing. I've only had time to practice and learn 1 technique in this scroll, but it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you look exhausted, And then he's thinking in his head, and he's like, so he's been here practicing techniques and this and that. I can see that he's, that he's exhausted. And he's like, yeah, Mizuki told me that if I went and I did this and that, and I learned some techniques and I took this scroll and I prayed, that I'd be able to be I'd be able to graduate, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, man, a bunch of like darts come out, and I forget the exact name for them, but they're like almost like little throwing knives that the ninja use. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments down below. But anyway, Iruka kind of gets a couple of them. It looks like they go into him. He gets pinned up against the wall, and we see Mizuki sitting up in the tree. And he's still trying to go and pull some shit on Naruto, right? And mindfuck him. And he's like, Naruto, give me the scroll, He's like, you gotta give it to me. He's like, Iruka just doesn't like you because he grew up and he was orphan and this and that. And he goes and lets the cat out of the bag. He winds up saying something about this decree and that everybody follows and this and that. And Naruto's like, what decree? I don't know of any decree. What are you talking about? And he He said, yeah, well, you wouldn't because the decree was about you. What happened is, and what he explains and kind of lets, and this is sort of like the oh shit moment, is that Naruto actually the soul, I guess you would say, or the essence of this nine-tailed demon fox that was defeated by the Fourth Hokage was actually like placed in or put into the reborn baby of Naruto, right? Or maybe that is Naruto. It's inside of. I don't know exactly how it's going yet. They haven't explained it yet. But I know that he's like, that's why you don't have any family. That's why you have no mother, father, this and that. And Mizuki's trying to go and mindfuck him and say, Iruka is just trying to mess with your head. He really hates you because here's the thing, like his parents were killed, and they show a quick flashback or whatever. He was a kid, and his parents were still off fighting the nine-tailed demon fox, right? And they wound up being killed by him. So he's like, so that's why Iruka's so hard on you, because he really hates you and everything else, you know? And he's just trying to turn him against him. So Naruto's kind of, he's pissed off. He's kind of like, what the hell, And as this is all happening, Mizuki's kind of getting him to look one way and then going to do something another one. He goes and whips this big-ass throwing star, man. Just, the thing was huge, dude. It looks like, I don't know, like a big shuriken, It's maybe 2 feet by 2 feet. It's huge. And Iruka goes and jumps in front of Naruto and winds up taking this thing right in his back, And as he's hunched over Naruto and he's trying to explain to him that, yeah, he doesn't hate him, that's not true, he's trying to get this across to him, and Naruto goes and takes off, right? He's like pissed, he's sad, he's whatever, I don't know. So then the ensuing conversation that happens between Mizuki, because now clearly you can tell he's this traitor. He just wants this damn sacred scroll for himself, for his own powers, for his own further and betterment. But we find out, too, that this scroll itself has something to do with the actual, this nine-tailed demon fox that was sealed away. Maybe some of the arts that are in there. I'm not really sure. So it winds up being, Mizuki says, hey, listen, I'll deal with you later, and goes to take off and find Naruto because he wants the scroll, So then you go and you see a couple minutes later, I guess you would say, there's like a kind of a cut back to the village and everybody's sort of getting ready with the pitchforks and stuff going to find Naruto. and then it goes back in the woods and you see, it's kind of cool how they depict it because you wind up seeing Iruka going after Naruto, right? And you're like, and he gets to him and everything and you're thinking, oh, okay, great, at least he found him and he caught him. Well, then you go and see he comes down to come by him and Naruto, hits him or knocks him out of the way. And Iruka's up against the tree, and he's like, "What the hell?" And Naruto is like, and the way the whole thing is set up, is Naruto is actually Mizuki that was trying to go and get Iruka to give him the scroll. It was basically a big okie doke, right? And Naruto, who was up against the tree, and Iruka's like, "How did you know this and that?" Blah blah. And he's like, "How did you know that I wasn't Iruka?" And Naruto goes and turns back into Iruka and goes, because I was Iruka. And I'm sorry if I mis-explained that over there. If you've read the chapter, you know what happened. But you get the idea. They kind of try to pull an okie doke on each other. Iruka was trying to go and obviously fool Mizuki. And Mizuki thought that he had the drop, and it wound up being pretty cool kind of switcheroo over there. So anyway, Mizuki's like, no matter, I'm going to take you out. And he goes to, goes to attack or give his final blow or what have you after he gives this speech. And the cool thing is that this little speech that happens, Naruto is close by and he overhears, he hears Iruka talking about that he doesn't hate him. That he really just, yes, he did grow up as an orphan because of his parents, of course, being gone, but he kind of identifies with him, and it's kind of like I was explaining earlier, like with my oldest son, he expects more from him, so that's why he's real hard on him, but he believes in him, and he believes that because of all the things that have happened, and him being shunned, and him being pushed away by others, and that he tries and tries, even though he's not the greatest at things, that he has empathy. And that he has, the potential to be so great because of that, So I really liked the whole speech that was given. And I think it's what kind of turned the tides in Naruto's mind anyway, because who knows how pissed off he was about being lied and duped by the whole village for his whole life, So anyway, as Mizuki winds up going to, hit Iruka with the killing blow, Naruto comes in and just BAM, and nails him and winds up, deflecting his one of his huge shurikens and nails him back, and he's like, don't you ever touch my master, Basically, I will kill you, boy. And he says, oh yeah, you're gonna kill me. He goes, I could kill you with one hit. I could destroy you with one hit, right? And I like that shit. I was like, oh, destroy him with one hit, huh? So that was kind of cool because you go and you get this is great, man. You get right here, keep away from Master Iruka, and you got that. And then you just got this whole, he's just real bad, man. He's just like, bring it on, you jerk. Anything you throw at me, I'll give back 1,000 times, you know? And it's kind of cool because it's the shit talking part of it, but then boom, he learned one technique he had told Master Iruka, right? Art of the doppelganger. Look at that shit. That's an army of Narutos right there, baby. And it's cool because as you go on to see in the next page and whatnot, Iruka's like blown away because he's like, oh my god, these aren't just like shadows, okay? You know, these aren't just clones. These are like solid living, breathing clones, right? This is like advanced, like next level shit, you know? And he even goes and says, and he's just like, man, he really does. If he can learn that quick, he has the potential to be the next great Hokage or the greatest Hokage that's ever lived, right? So I thought it was very cool how all of it was put together. And then, of course, you know, Naruto winds up going and beating the living piss out of him with his clones and everything, you know, after he's like, oh, yeah, go ahead, buddy. You know, why don't you go and hit me? Why don't you take me out with your one hit, you know? And so he winds up going and taking Mizuki out. And we see him just kind of laying there bloodied and beaten. And then he goes to Iruka and he says, you know, I'm sorry, master. You know, I got a little carried away, right? But I don't think so. I think that the guy got what he deserved. Piece of shit trying to go and use his background and his history against him to do this. So anyway, he winds up, you know, so things wind up obviously being okay. And it kind of wraps up the chapter at that point. At the end of the chapter, though, as they're coming back into the village, you know, the Hokage and everybody else that was looking for him and everything, everything obviously is settling down now. And then we see this kind of cool moment. A little bit of a touching moment where, you know, he says, can I open my eyes? And I says, yeah, you can open your eyes now, Naruto. And he winds up, you know, he says, you're a graduate, you're a shinobi now, and he gives him the headband with the leaf on it. So that's how Naruto gets his cool trademark headband, which I'm probably actually going to order one of just so I can do my Naruto reviews. I don't have blonde hair, though, so I may have to just go and spike up my brown hair, and we'll have to deal with it. So, but definitely, I think it was a great start to a series. And just so everyone knows that does follow me along and embark on this journey with me, please try to keep the comments spoiler-free if you can. I do have a system for checking on those things and making sure that I don't actually read any of them. But this is a new experience for me, so I will make mistakes. There is things that I will not understand because I haven't read 500 or 600 chapters ahead. But it is a journey that I want to take, and I truly hope that everybody enjoys taking this journey with me. So for all of you that do follow and support me, I truly do appreciate it. And what we like to do here is I also like to ask a chapter question. And really, I think this one, my chapter question is going to be, what were your thoughts on the first chapter? The first chapters obviously are typically longer, and you get a little more content. But my opinion is that it wasn't too overwhelming because we weren't introduced to too many different characters, and there wasn't too much going on. They kept the story very small, although the scope is larger, you know, and you can see there's obviously a larger world to be explored. They didn't throw all that at you at once. So what are your thoughts, brothers and sisters, on the first chapter and how everything was laid out? Do you think it was too much, just right, not enough? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Say, if you like boobies like I do, please hit the like button to let me know you do like boobies.